Welcome to the hardest working committee in the Nevada State Legislature, the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assemblyman Carter.
Present.
Assemblyman DeLong.
Present.
Assemblyman De Silva.
Here.
Assemblywoman Duran. Here. Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Okay. Assemblyman Gurr. Assemblyman Hibbets. Assemblyman Koenig. Assemblyman MacArthur. Assemblyman Wynn. Assemblywoman Taylor. Assemblywoman Thomas. Chair Torres.
Thank you, and please mark those not currently present, absent, excused. I know I have a couple people that are out for various different reasons, mostly presenting bills in the other house at this time. So we will hopefully have them all with us here shortly. Welcome to the audience here in Carson City, those joining us by video conference in Las Vegas, and those joining us over the internet. Just a couple housekeeping items. Please remember to silence your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table at the door and provide a business card to the committee secretary. For those joining online, please be sure to mute your microphone when you're not speaking to minimize any background noise. When testifying, please turn on the microphone and clearly state your name and affiliation, if any, for the record. Handouts should have already been provided to the committee staff. We expect courtesy and respect in our interactions during the meeting. Committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and other documents. Please do not view this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. Public comment will be taken at the end of the meeting. Each person will be limited to 2 minutes. And the public may submit written testimony to the committee up to 24 hours after the hearing. As a reminder to the general public as well, today we are honoring and recognizing Denim Day in the Nevada State Legislature, so you'll see many of us on with our jean jackets or maybe our jeans, our jean pants. And this is a day where we recognize the impact of sexual assault in our community, and so we're making sure that we bring that awareness here to the Nevada State Legislature through denim, but then also through policy that we will be carrying throughout this legislative cycle. Today we do have 2 bills scheduled, so we will go ahead and begin with SB 8. At this time I'll open the hearing on SB 8, which revises provisions relating to juvenile justice. When you're ready, please begin.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Dr. Cindy Pitlock, and I serve as the administrator of the Division of Child and Family Services. Hopefully I did my job today and I can get all of this on record for you and help you make a decision to move this along. I'm here today to present Senate Bill 8, which revises provisions relating to juvenile justice. Senate Bill 8 adds 1 line of new text. The proposed language updates NRS 289.470, which is the statute that defines Category 2 peace officers. Category 2 peace officers include such state positions as court bailiffs, agents of the Nevada Gaming Control Board, legislative police officers, parole counselors at the Division of Child and Family Services, and a variety of investigators employed by the Nevada Transportation Authority, arson and fire departments, the state forester fire warden, the DMV, and others. There are, in all, 18 definitions of Category 2 peace officers, and this bill proposes a 19th type, a criminal investigator employed by the Division of Child and Family Services. We are requesting a criminal investigator position to serve as an investigator for allegations relating to the Prison Rape Elimination Act, which I will call PREA going forward. PREA refers to national standards to provide comprehensive guidelines for preventing, detecting, and responding to sexual abuse and sexual harassment involving both youth and adults in federal, state, and local institutions, including state and community correctional facilities. All youth residing in a DCFS facility are protected under PREA, and each facility has a process in place for youth to report PREA allegations. This PREA investigator would be responsible for PREA investigations at all 3 of our facilities. This position is already in our budget, and this bill simply allows the division to hire the Category 2 peace officer into the position to bring the requisite skills and authority to these investigations. Currently, the division does not have a designated position to investigate PREA allegations. This position has been vacant while we have been waiting authority to fill it, so investigations have been completed by other staff that also have full-time duties. Additionally, DCFS only completes the administrative portion of the investigation on PREA allegations. If an allegation can be classified as sexual abuse, it is reported to local law enforcement for their assessment of whether or not to complete a criminal investigation as well. In these cases, DCFS would still complete an administrative investigation following the criminal investigation. If we are allowed to hire a criminal investigator, these cases would no longer need to be referred out to local law enforcement. Our PREA investigator would be able to complete both the administrative and the criminal portion of the investigation. That would take the direct burden off of local law enforcement. Based on the outcome of our investigation, the PREA investigator would turn their information over to local law enforcement to press charges or make an arrest. If you were to ask me what problem I am trying to fix, in the 2019 legislative session, we were approved a criminal investigator position, but we didn't have the authority really to hire a criminal investigator. And this is why we're trying to add the Category 2 investigator into the definition. And thank you for listening, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Vice Chair Duran?
Good morning, and thank you for the presentation. If I heard you correctly, in 2019, we approved you to hire a criminal investigator?
Correct, but under the NRS, we did not have authority that we needed to employ a Category 2 peace officer. So we're asking for that to be added to the definition of Category 2 peace officer.
May I? So basically, so he will be covered under the contracts if there is with them as well to be listed in the peace officers for...
That is my understanding. Cindy Pitlock, for the record, that is my understanding, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, members. Any additional questions? It doesn't appear there are any. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to testify in support of SB 8. Doesn't appear there's any here in Carson City. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support in a packed room for SB 8? Doesn't appear so. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in support of SB 8?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to testify in opposition here in Carson City or in Las Vegas. Doesn't appear there's any. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to testify neutral. Is there anyone here in Carson City? I don't see any. I don't see anyone in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify neutral?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify neutral at this time.
All right, I'll invite the sponsor if there's any closing remarks. It doesn't appear there's any at this time, so we will go ahead and close the hearing on SB 8. And next, we will go ahead and open the hearing on SB 21, which revises certain classifications based on populations. And please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Torres, Vice Chair Duran, and members of the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs. For the record, my name is Jennifer Berthume, Government Affairs Manager at the Nevada Association of Counties, or NACO. Thank you for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 21 on behalf of NACO, whose members represent all 17 of Nevada's counties. SB 21 proposes to amend Chapter 244 of NRS to adjust current population thresholds of 45,000 up to 52,000 to reflect the results of the 2020 United States Census. Last addressed by this body in 2011 on a much larger scale, this bill is much narrower in scope, but intends to address some matters affecting rural counties. Specifically, this would allow rural counties to continue business operations in a manner consistent with lower population density. We believe that the intent of this legislation would allow these counties to continue to serve the public efficiently while maximizing public resources with a continued level of public service their communities have come to expect. Madam Chair, I know it is standard procedure to outline section by section the proposed changes, but if it would be more helpful for the committee, given the length of the bill, I can summarize the proposed changes. Okay. I will first highlight Section 1, which would allow counties under the 52,000 population cap to combine or separate county offices. Sections 2, 3, 8, and 12 adjust requirements for appraisers of real property. Sections 5, 9, 10, 13, 17, 18, 19, and 21 are permissive, allowing smaller counties the ability to do such things as have less restrictive standards for manufactured homes and create planning commissions. In addition, our proposal maintains the definition of rural for these counties. This concludes my presentation of SB 21, and at the pleasure of the chair, I'm happy to take any questions the committee may have.
Thank you, members. Any questions? Assemblyman DeLong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If this pop cap wasn't changed, which counties would be affected?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Assemblyman.
Please feel free to go directly to the member.
Jennifer Berthume, for the record. That would be Douglas and Nye counties.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think I had asked this in my office, but I think it's good for the legislative record. And which counties were previously included in 2010?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jennifer Berthume, for the record. In 2010, there were 6 counties over the 45,000, and that included Nye, Douglas, Elko, Carson City, Lyon, Washoe, and Clark.
Okay, thank you. And so then this piece of legislation would just restrict it to Douglas and Nye? And so they wouldn't have any changes. The only people that would have, the only groups that would have changes were those that are now over that population cap, correct?
Yeah, so if this were to change,
I apologize, your name.
sorry, Jennifer Berthume, for the record. If this were to change in accordance with the 2020 census data, there would be 5 counties over the 52,000 population threshold, and that would be Clark, Washoe, Lyon, Carson City, and Elko.
Thank you. And so now some of the groups that were previously, like, that were under that population threshold, right? Now those groups are over and they're going to have more different responsibilities, right? However, those that will continue to be under this population threshold, from our conversation, my understanding is it's Douglas and Nye. And so those are the only groups that, like, they would maintain whatever the status quo is. Other groups were required to change. So actually, because of the population increase, this would be applicable to significantly less counties, it seems.
Jennifer Berthume, for the record. That's correct. So the counties above the 52,000 would maintain the same services, as would those under the 52,000, just in a different manner. And an example of that would be Planning Commission. It's still offered, but in a smaller county, it could be done by the Board of County Commissioners instead of creating a whole Planning Commission.
All right, thank you, members. Assemblyman Carter.
So is this a constantly moving target to keep these counties from having to provide resources? And so what I'm getting at is, how often are we going to see this change in order to, from my point of view, deny citizens the services that they were, that we said used to, you got to provide these services if you go over 47,500. Now we're moving that target up. At what point does the need of the population outweigh the savings for the county?
Thank you for the question, Assemblyman Carter. Jennifer Berthume, for the record. Actually, it's my understanding that the legislature has done these population threshold increases in the past, every 10 years after a census. However, the intent, again, is to still continue providing the services that the community is currently getting, but also just being mindful of the population density in some of our more rural counties. So, for example, in Nye County, it's the largest geographically, so there's 2.7 people per square mile, but they're still receiving all of the services, just at a lower kind of expectation of maybe like meeting frequency, or there's one provision in here about providing documents online. Those documents would still be provided if they were asked for them, but some of the smaller counties may not have more sophisticated websites that allow to be posting all the supplemental materials from an agenda. So that's just an example I could provide.
Quickly, I'm just going to go to legal, if they could talk about like the history of us changing those numbers.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Asher Killian, Committee Counsel. So I will preface this by saying that the legislature defines population on the basis of the decennial census. So even though obviously the number of people in a town changes from day to day, for the purpose of the law, it only changes once every 10 years. So whatever the population was as of the most recent census remains the population for the purposes of these breakpoints until the next census is done. Historically, the legislature has reconsidered once each decade after the decennial census the population breakpoints within NRS. As you may know, the Nevada Constitution prohibits special or local legislation, so the legislature cannot target particular counties or particular local areas by name with legislation, but the Supreme Court has upheld the ability of the legislature to make distinctions based on population, as long as the distinctions based on population are rationally related to the subject matter of the statute and they don't create absurd results. So if the legislature is creating incredibly small population distinctions, that probably runs afoul of the legislature's constitutional authority. But it is the power of the legislature, and the legislature has historically exercised it after each census to reconsider the existing population breakpoints within the law and determine whether there are any policy reasons to change those breakpoints based on changes in population distribution throughout the state. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Must have had his coffee today. Assemblyman Carter. I'm good. Okay, perfect. I think that helped the answers we needed. Members, any additional questions? Doesn't appear there's any. Thank you. At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to testify in support of SB 21. It doesn't look like there's anyone in Las Vegas, but I know I have at least one here in Carson City. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, Mary Walker, representing Douglas County, Lyon County, and Story County. I did want to point out one section. We made an amendment to this bill in the Senate, and it's on page 21, section 15.5. And this is the only section that is not 52,000, it's 100,000. And where this came from is the rural counties have had in the past the ability to enact a residential construction tax on behalf of their local school districts. And Lyon County put this into effect many, many years ago. And so the Lyon County School District has been receiving this residential construction tax that the county commission enacted, and they took the hit for it so that it would better the schools. If you did not have this change, again, it's the every 10-year change, then Lyon County would not be able to continue to enact this tax on behalf of the Lyon County School District. And as you know, the rural school districts are vastly underfunded, and this is an extremely important tax for them. So all we're asking is just to keep it status quo.
Members, any questions? It doesn't appear there are any. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in support of SB 21? I don't see any here in Carson City. I don't see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in support of SB 21?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Is there anyone wishing to testify in opposition to SB 21? I don't see any here in Carson City. Is there anyone, I don't see anyone in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition to SB 21?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
All right, at this time, I invite anyone wishing to testify neutral to SB 21. Doesn't appear there's any here in Carson City or in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify neutral to SB 21?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify in neutral at this time.
All right, we'll go ahead and invite the bill sponsor for any closing remarks. All right, it doesn't appear there's any. So at this time, we'll go ahead and close the hearing on SB 21. We'll go ahead and move on to public comment. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in public comment? I don't see anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in public comment or in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in public comment?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify in public comment at this time.
Perfect, thank you. Members, any remarks? Someone MacArthur minute today? You want to invite? Did you want to invite everyone to your birthday celebration? Did you want to invite everybody to your birthday celebration? Sure. Oh, okay. Can you share the information? Just click hit on your mic, please, so it's on the record.
You want this on the record? Huh?
Yes, please.
We're having a little party across the street at the bank.
At what time?
A little birthday party starting at 5:30.
All right. And how old are you turning exactly, Senator MacArthur?
42.
No lying on the record. No lying on the record.
Well, there's a little times between the 4 and the 2.
40 times 2, the big 80.
Thank you, Madam
It'll be a
Chair.
major celebration. You can meet
Point
Mrs. MacArthur. You can meet Mr. MacArthur's lovely sister. I'm super excited. It's going to be a blast. So be there. And I believe we actually, Judy, we had something that was sent in for the committee. If we wanted to play that tape real quickly before we adjourn. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Richard MacArthur's very, very young daughter, Michelle.
Mom, you're 40 now. You should probably stop saying you're young.
Well, compared to Grandpa, I am still very young. And besides, you two will be in my shoes soon enough because time flies.
Time flies is something old people say.
Valid point. I think you two should go play some video games now. Let's get started. I cleverly titled this poem Ode to Dad because I'm young and clever.
If you say so, Mom.
Ode to Dad. I used to be inclined to call out your age and lack of youth, but now I have to remember you being 80 makes 40 my cold hard truth. Older, wiser, and officially an octogenarian. If you're so wise, you find something to rhyme with that. Growing up with an FBI agent for a dad was pretty cool until I became a teen. Then I realized detecting liars was kind of his thing. A young retired dad with time on your hands, you helped me with my high school student council plans. From posters to speeches and campaign strategy, you helped me secure the first female student body presidency. Come to think of it, did I inspire your political career? Maybe I should get a cut of that per diem this year. Fun facts about the old guy, he detests early mornings and cold weather. So this Carson City job, plus my dad, isn't something we saw fitting together. But we see his passion and drive for serving his state and making connections across the political aisle. And we know the people he has the pleasure to work with make the snow and alarm clocks worthwhile. Who would have guessed Biden and MacArthur would have a similar legacy? Just two old guys breaking records with earthly longevity. And finally, if you think he says no a lot during the legislative session, try being his teenage daughter asking for a curfew extension. Thank you to Governor Lombardo, Assemblywoman Shannon Bilbray Axelrod, Assemblywoman Selena Torres, and everyone who helped make this celebration possible. We appreciate you taking care of the old guy. Where are we on the old guy count? I wish we could be there in person, but I am my children's Uber driver and they have a very demanding driving route. Happy birthday, Dad, and cheers to 80 years.
Any additional remarks to Senator MacArthur?
No, that was more than
So we look forward to continuing to celebrate with the old man, Assemblyman MacArthur, here at the octogenarian of the Nevada State Legislature. We're looking forward to the celebration. I'm just using your daughter's words. You know? At this time, the committee is adjourned in celebration of Assemblyman MacArthur.